Boom! And what's up? Welcome to, I guess this is not the Chat with Gunner podcast. This would be the Chat with Gunner update, the breaking news. I'm gonna sit here for a second, and I'm gonna see if we can get a few people to tag along onto the show. I'm going live. I am story time. I'm in Nashville right now. I'm having to drive the U-Haul back to Chattanooga with Tia's stuff that was up here in our apartment. You know, the two location deal for a while. So now here we go. We got some people coming in on, hey, share this out with people. Like this, get this going. No set agenda here. It's gonna be a very short video, but what I wanted to do is just kind of go over some analytics, being a numbers guy, of the podcast. Now, I wish you guys could see this view. I'm in Nashville. Nashville, obviously very close to Chattanooga, very similar, but Nashville is a beautiful place. It's 8:28 here, so 9:30 or 9:28 at home, and you know, the sun is just starting to hit, you know, I guess that 3/4 way up in the sky. And anyways, hey, we get some more viewers. Hey, share this out, like this, get this to everybody. This is not a podcast. This is more of an update. It's gonna be a very quick video. If we get some more people live interacting and comments, hey, share this out, get this out to people. Tell people to watch it. Chat with Gunner podcast, CWG podcast. Gonna be talking about a rebranding, a transition. Gonna be talking about how where we started, what we're doing, what the plan is moving forward. Kind of that light bulb moment, right? So, anyways, let's get this thing started. Now, obviously, if you're in this is going right now in like 5 different platforms live. I love StreamYard with the hookup. But if and I'm getting distracted by all these cars driving by. Sorry, I'm like a dog. But again, share this out, like this. Tell some friends, get people over here. What I want to do right now, what I'd like to do right now is just kind of, you know, first say thank you to people that have supported the show, that have, you know, especially at home, right? So Tia, I want to thank her first of all, because, you know, every Thursday night, I'm sorry, I'm just waking up too. Every Thursday night, I go to the podcast at about, you know, between 6 to 8 p.m. and sometimes I'm there till midnight. Especially when Marcus is playing ball games. And if we get done with the game at 8, I'm hitting the podcast studio at 8:30. Sometimes not walking out of there by midnight. By the time we do pre-production, we record, and then we talk about, you know, titles of the show, comments, and all that type of stuff. So there really is a lot that goes into doing a podcast. And a lot of people, I think, you know, and if I'm looking at other people do it, I'm thinking the same thing also. What is this guy doing? Why is he doing a podcast? Who does he think he is doing a podcast? Why does he think he's important enough that people want to listen to him talk? You know, you make valid points there. You make valid points. If you agree with that, share that out, right? So you make valid points. And I can definitely understand where people are coming from when they think that. But I'm at a point now, I believe, in my life when I started this in January 3rd, 2020. Think about that. We started January 3rd, 2020. I'm in a phase of my life now to where I just don't care what people think. And I truly do believe that had a lot to do with meeting Tia and Marcus coming into my life and us building that relationship and that family and that that crew, that tribe between the 3 of us. Because, you know, obviously you have family, and then, you know, you have family that you're born into, right? And that's you know, that's always going to be number 1 priority. And then I believe out there in the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, that there's, you know, people that you're supposed to be with. And people say, like, you're going to meet the one, you're going to meet the one. There's one out there for everybody. I mean, probably, right? And, you know, there's damn near 8 billion people on this planet. So just say that's half and half, you know, male and female. I didn't mean to offend anybody. And there you go, man. I mean, see, there's quite a bit of people to choose from. If you just cold called 4 billion people, I'm sure you'd maybe get a date. Give it a shot. Sales is a valuable key. We'll get there. Hey, if you're just now joining in, share this out, like this out. Appreciate it. We're doing a quick update of the show. No structure here. It's going to be probably a very short video compared to the podcast episodes, but bear with me. We got some good news to share, good plans to come through. So anyways, at the time of my life now where I just don't care. And, if they support me, then I'm going to do it. And I guess I need to tell you, the people that are just now joining, why I'm not at work, right? Why are you not working, bro? Good question. Good question. Guys at work probably ask that even when I'm there. I'm kidding, kind of. But seriously, I'm in Nashville. I'm moving Tia stuff back to Chattanooga from a little bit of an in-between there with work. We had two different places, one Chattanooga, one in Nashville. Anyways, here we go. So share this out with your friends. Comment below if you can. Comment and tell me you're here. Where you guys jumping in from, right? Anyways, let's do this. So time of my life now where I just don't really care, right? So here's where I want to get. Where did the Chat with Gunner podcast start, and where did it come from? I was doing a podcast. I was asked to help out. You know what? I need to get back to the story. Let's break this down in case I ever become a podcast guest on some more shows. So Gunner, why did you start the Chat with Gunner podcast? Great question, Gunner. Let me answer that question for you, Gunner. So in 2018, I was injured in pro wrestling. I hurt my knee. It wasn't an extremely serious injury, but enough to put me on the shelf for a while. I didn't require surgery, but it was because it was a part of my knee, the PCL, that you don't necessarily need. They call it the car crash injury, or in pro wrestling, the spine buster injury. When you do the rock spine buster for 4 years in a row as your one of your signature moves, that's probably very similar to a car crash. What up, Marcus? So anyways, had that injury, and I decided to back off wrestling a little bit. Kind of got canceled from wrestling on Twitter for running my mouth. And then Marcus is out here with me. And then these guys at the studio, at the time, it was Terminal 57, I believe, or Max Smith Studio, something like that. Chris McNally, Sting Weber, they reached out to me through direct messages. We'd only ran across each other a few times, maybe known each other in Chattanooga, but ran across each other a few times. And they asked if I would help them out with a professional wrestling show, podcast, something like that. And I was hesitant, but then I said yes. Hey man, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. So I go to the studio. Studio's in the back of the Gateway Antique Mall in Rossville, Georgia. And if you know, or before I go through, I think it's the Rossville, whatever. The first exit right past Eastridge, right there in North Georgia. And I show up to this mall. I'm like, what in the hell have I gotten myself into showing up at this rinky-dink Gateway Antique Mall? There's literally like a meth clinic right beside me. There's a church over here beside me. And there's bingo going on. What am I doing? And then they show me the place. Man, you talking about a hidden gem, not G-Y-M, but G-E-M, a hidden gem, a diamond in the rough that they got there at that studio. Now, that was late 2018, early 2019 from when we actually started the show. That show was called the 60-Minute Broadway. Now, in that show, the 60-Minute Broadway, we had my MacBook that we put on a table in front of us. You can go back and watch those early episodes on Facebook and on YouTube. And it was me and Sting, and the vibe was going to be, Sting going through the list of hot topics in mainstream wrestling and independent wrestling, and me giving my analytic thoughts and color commentary on the matter to try to stir up some controversy. And I got bought into that way too much. There for a period of my life, and I'll probably clip this too for some other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. But there for a period in my life, coming from pro wrestling, I got into this I was always in character. So, obviously pro wrestling is scripted. It's a story. It's an event, right? But I wrestle as Gunner Miller. I wrestle as the people's captain. I wrestle as Mr. Scenic City. I wrestle as the guy from Chattanooga. That's what I went around as. Okay, Gunner. So who are you in college? Well, I was Gunner Miller. I was the people's captain. I was Mr. Scenic City, and I was the guy from Chattanooga, at least in my mind, right? Um, no, it's not everybody's mind. Now, you take that and you take it into a scripted world, a fake world, a movie type world, a Hollywood type world of pro wrestling entertainment, and then you have to be that person, right? Like, so when I was a heel is not the bottom of your foot, just. It is also a bad guy in professional wrestling. Think Lex Luthor to Superman. Think Joker to Batman, right? Some people like the heel, some people don't. Majority of people don't because they want the good guy to win. Now, when I was heel, and I was heel the majority of the time in the professional wrestling scene, you start to buy into that a little bit. People start to tell you that you're good. People start to put you in the main event in other cities. People start to bring you into other states. People start to fly you in. You know, you're starting to get a little bit of exposure, and you're a bad guy, so you got to keep being a bad guy, right? And then that translates into your real life. You're partying, you're being mean to people, you're being a jerk, just an asshole, hard to be around. You're egotistical. You're just about yourself. All that happened, man, and a lot of that came out towards the end of wrestling. But you know what? Failure happens. I've failed so many times in my life at so many different things that I've loved, that it's just made me who I am today. And I wouldn't want to be anybody other tthan who I am today. So, I mean, it is what it is. If we got any new viewers, hey, real quick, share this out. I'm about to get to the point. I promise you. I am going to get to the point. Yeah. I know why these influencers and stuff try to get out here around this time and shoot video in this type of lighting. Pretty cool. Anyways, so, that's how I got into the 60-minute Broadway. And we did a whole year's worth of episodes. And there towards the end, Sting got a little busy. And then it was pretty much just me and Ethan. Ethan was producing it. We actually had him producing the show at that point, behind the scenes. And then, I was in front of the camera, and I was just pretty much getting up there ranting about professional wrestling every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Facebook. And guess what? It was working, man. It was working. It's crazy to think that there for several weeks in a row, we was hitting over 10, 20,000 views per episode. Now, those weren't like views as we were live, but we would have 50 to 60 people stopping in on a live stream. It was getting pretty good, man. It was getting pretty good. And then like me, like a bonehead, I'm like, dude, this is working, but I don't like the brand. Instead of rebranding under the brand, because it was, it is their brand. It's Sting's brand. It's Chris's brand. And the consistency just wasn't there enough for me. Love those guys. Chris is not involved in 60-minute Broadway. It's just more of a thought that Sting had. He, helped create and push, and it's coming back, by the way. And I will be a part of it, and it will be done better this time. But Sting, I love Sting, man, but inconsistency a little bit, right? And he's got Rejected Radio and this, and he's doing great things with the gig, and the studio's finally taken off, right, this year. So it's big things happening. So listen, I jump in and I start up the idea that I want my own podcast. This probably happened like November, December of 2019, because the first episode, hey, if you're just joining, share this out. We're getting right now into how Chat with Gunner started, so share this out right now. So first episode, January 3rd, 2020. We had 0 followers. We had 0 subscribers. We had 0 views. My goal was to get a guest every week. My first episode was talking about an Adderall addiction. So if you want to know more about that Adderall addiction, go to YouTube, go to CWG Podcast, not Chat with Gunner. It is officially rebranded. CWG Podcast will be the first thing that comes up. Watch that episode 1. It's a great episode. I really bear all most vulnerable I've been in my life as far as out there in front of people. So we do that one successful. We start getting subscribers. I think we jumped like 50 subscribers. Well, anyways, over the course of the next 2 years, roughly, we were able to gain 2,140 subscribers. All right, 2 years. Took 2 years for us to do that. Started in January, a little over 2 years. So a little over, 1,000 per year. So hopefully at the end of this year, we're over 3. A little over 1,000 a year. We've put out 118 episodes of the podcast, like actually doing a podcast. We've put out 183 total videos, so about 70 other videos of YouTube Shorts, which have just started here recently. And that's really been grabbing some traction. The Viking boxer, my man Chris right here, he's jumping in. I got to throw up his thing right there. Why you so handsome, bro? You know what? You're probably the only person that's going to say that on here, but I appreciate that. I think it's because you got the beard. Obviously, we go back, go mocks. Now you're knocking people out in the boxing ring. It's awesome to see you chasing your goals, chasing your dreams. Stay at it, my guy. Stay at it, my guy. You're going to be doing great things, man. If you're not doing that, hey, share this out. Get this out to some people. Y'all go check out the Viking boxer, my man Chris TKO. Let's go, bro. Anyways, so 2 years in, over 2,000 subscribers, and some things have started to click with me a little bit. I got some people out here blowing the horn. What it do? So I went to Listen Score, right? That's listen as in listen, and score as in, score a point. It's called Listen Score. Listen Notes. Listen Notes. And our listen score for the podcast is 36. I'm going to get to that. And our ranking in the world of podcasting is in the top 3%. So I look at that and I go, whoo, we're in the top 3%. That's something to brag about, right? Pretty cool. So there's roughly about 2.9 million podcasts out there in the ether. Now, out of those podcasts, if we're in the top 3%, I would have to say that I'm in the 80,000s. Okay, let's break that down. Potentially 8 billion people out there. I believe only like 30% of the world has internet. All right, so let's just say about 1.5 billion people out there have access to the internet. Out of those 1.5 billion, about 3 million of those people have created a podcast. All right, and out of those 3 million people, I'm in the top 80,000. I'll take that as a win for right now. All right, 2 years in. So, because the goal of this show, the Chat with Gunner podcast, was to be the best podcast in Chattanooga. Hint, the name Chatt, C-H-A-T-T, clever, with Gunner, me, right? Couldn't be easier than that. You chat with me, we put it on the internet, people watch it, become the best podcast in Chattanooga. Very simple thought process. And then I felt confined, only interviewed people from Chattanooga, just felt confined. So I decided to, expand that, but I kept calling it Chat with Gunner. And we continue to call it Chat with Gunner because it is Chat with Gunner. That is the name, right? So we're going through a rebrand, and the rebrand is the CWG podcast. Chat with Gunner podcast still, but the CWG podcast gives it more of a national look, more of a professional look, even though I'm not very professional, and able to get more people. So now I wanted to talk about the listen score. The listen score, 36, is a score out of 100. So let's look at Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is a 97 listen score, and he is in the 0.01% of all podcasts in the world. All right. Chat with Gunner is a 36 listen score with a top 3% in the world. Right. Cool. So goals right now, let's increase that listen score and let's decrease that percentage. Right. That's the main goals, because instead of being now the top podcast in Chattanooga, little bitty tiny little Chattanooga, I'm now going to shift my focus to being the top podcast. Listen, I know it's crazy. Don't call me crazy. The top podcast in the Southeast. Now you're probably saying, hey man, you're going too small. Be the best podcast in the States. Be the best podcast in the world. Here's my goal. If I can be the best podcast in the Southeast, I can officially be the best podcast in Chattanooga. And then when I become the best podcast, when I start becoming the best podcast in the Southeast, I can jump on and be the best podcast in the States. And when I become the best podcast in the States, I'm the best podcast in the Southeast. And when I'm the best podcast in the world, I'm the best podcast everywhere. A lot of these things aren't going to happen, but you got to say these things. You got to think these things. Why do something if you don't believe it, right? Why do something if you don't believe it? That's my thought to you. And I'm going to be doing more of these lives too. So anyways, I had a light bulb moment happen, right? The goal was to have a guest every single week. And I started this January 3rd, 2020. So what's the time frame here? I wanted to have a guest every single week. And then COVID happened in March. Because after the addiction episode, we did have a guest every single week. And then COVID happened. And it was working successfully. So now what do? You got to pivot. So now it's back to me with Ethan over here talking in front of the camera over and over and over and over and over again. Talking about the same stuff, having to experiment with my own body to come up with content. So I'm doing fasting, different diet trends. I was doing like a weight loss thing. I did a weight gain thing. I found myself talking a lot about exercise and fitness. And then I'd start talking about gambling. Then I started talking about sports cards. It was too much. Too many different hobbies for me to jump into and way too much money. But here's where I figured out we've got to go. We've got to go right here. And that is, what's the plan moving forward? What's the plan moving forward? And I believe that the plan, oh man, I just dropped my $7 pen from Sharpie pen from Walgreens. Anyways, what's the plan moving forward? And the plan moving forward is this: become a nationally recognized brand. Starting local, expanding a little bit at a time. What's the easiest way for me? What's the easiest way for me to do that? The easiest way for me to do that is simply go after my industry and go after my profession. What's your profession, Gunner? Okay, well, my industry is logistics. My industry is also podcasting. And my industry is also professional wrestling. My industry is also parenting. My industry is also family. My industry is also friends. Okay? 6 different things that are really big in my life, right? Fitness too, also. So those things, right? And then we're going to go after people in those fields. We're going to do interviews with as many people as possible in those. But I'm going to start with logistics and sales. That's the main 2. If anything else happens, it happens. But I'm starting with logistics and sales. And I think you guys have already started to see that. Over the course of the past 3 weeks, I've been able to get some really good guests on the show, provide some really good content. And if you're not watching these episodes, I'm going to say you're missing out. And I'm not being... Let me say this without being very cocky, I guess. It's hard for me not to do that sometimes. Just the way I say things, because I'm pretty confident in what I say because I have very strong opinions. But if you're not listening to these episodes with these people that I've been bringing on the past few weeks, you're truly missing out because they are very intelligent, very bright, very smart. They're just not mainstream. So there's a market for that. There's a market for finding very intelligent, very smart, very hardworking, very successful, very bright, very witty, very charismatic people that are just not mainstream. Not everybody hammers out social media. Not everybody becomes, Insta famous. Not everybody becomes an influencer. Not everybody's on news. But we're at a time and day that you can create your own platform. Thank you, StreamYard. Thank you, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Thank you, all the sites. That you can create your own platform now. CWG Podcast. Think of it as a news network for the most part of the news that I want to give you. Fox, CNN, CNBC, all these different news sites are giving you negativity all the time. Negativity this, negativity that, fear this, death that, death count over here, fear over here, all this crazy stuff, man. Why can't we just have outlets that you go to just to get plugged in and get positivity? I think this can be that. I really do think this can be that. And this can be that for logistics. This can be that for sales. This can be that for a lot of things. All right. So the goal moving forward is to get as many people from logistics and sales onto the show and to give you guys information. Give you guys information as much as possible. So I say that to say this: freight brokers, dispatchers, executives, salespeople, CSRs, shippers. Yes, you, the customer. Yeah, the people shipping the freight. I'm talking to you. Shippers, controllers, traffic managers, supply chain analysts, supply chain managers, transportation managers, logistic managers, global supply chain, international supply chain, drayage, whatever you are. If you're in the field of supply chain in some way of getting something from point A to point B, I'm your guy. I'm your guy. Yes, there's a bunch of great producers of content out there in logistics, transportation, and supply chain. Freight Waves comes to mind. I think that I'll probably be in touch with them pretty soon and maybe be linking up a little bit and hopping over to their studio over there, and then let them know what's up, People's Captain, right? And then I was on Chris Jolly's podcast. Love Chris Jolly, the freight coach. Big shout out to Chris Jolly. He inspires a little bit of this because he's been doing this consistently, and he kind of jumped off of another bandwagon to get on this content train for logistics. And then you got Matthew Leffler, my man, the armchair attorney. My man out there putting out some fire content. I'm trying to remember like who he reminds me of as far as like a guest. I'm a big Joe Rogan fan. It's like a guest on Rogan's show, like somebody that is overly read, knowledgeable, and intelligent, right? He's a lawyer, went to law school, good athlete, good looking cat, family man, smart, been in business. Dude knows some stuff. And he's going to blow up. He just not mainstream yet. Guys like that, man, attaching your cart to people like that is what the early podcast generation did. What the guys from, the 2010s did in podcasting. They all found the people they knew they were going to be good, and they attached their buggy, and they went, and now they're all good. You can do that now. We can do that right now in transportation and logistics. We just got to get together. We got to get a little community together. People in Chattanooga, people at Freightways, Matthew Leffler's, Chris Jolly's, these other guys that are doing podcasts. Let's get together. Let's start hammering this thing out. I'm still in Chris Jolly's style right now with the backwards hat. So anyways, just wanted to talk about that real quick. And then another thing. So we got monetized, I guess, about a year in. So that was pretty cool. I appreciate you guys for doing that. And then, but the plan moving forward. So logistics, supply chain, anybody in sales, more than welcome to hit me up, go to the DMs, get into the show. This is the last day, up here in Nashville. I should be moving around pretty good back in Chattanooga for the most part. At 12 Point Logistics, you're more than welcome to come to the shop, come to the brokerage, come to the boiler room, come to the Wolf of Wall Street campus, come to the place that the magic happens, right? Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, come to 12 Point. We're over in Saudi. Come to 12 Point. Come check me out. And come chop it up in the office with me. If you have any ideas, plans, thoughts, content creation, anything, hit me up. Let's do this thing. I'd love to have people come by, stop by, introduce you to the team, let you see what we do. And, I just think that this could be a thing, especially you content creators out there, man. Come by, knock on the door, man, stop by. You can come by whenever you want. Just hit me up in the DMs, let me know that you're coming by. And then what's another thing, man? I know I'm live here. I'm out of my notes. I've officially went off the notes. So you never know where this goes. This could be another hour. But it can't be because I got to move here in a minute. So I guess what I just want to say, last thing, is thank you yet again. I know that, a lot of people don't like to be as out there, and I plan to do a video on failure on YouTube, and I will, but I want to talk about failure real quick right here in my own personal life. Failure is a funny thing, man. Failure is extremely funny because, time to get some electrolytes. Failure is extremely funny because Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to be a loser. Nobody wants to just participate. Failure's real. Failure is real. Let me tell you just spark notes of the video that I want to do about failure. Think about this, man. Think about this real quick. I started playing sports when I was 4. Failed. Made it to Division I football, but guess what? Didn't hit the goal. Failure. In basketball, I didn't even make the 6th grade team. No, I didn't. No, I did make the 6th. In baseball, I didn't make the 6th grade team. Failure. Basketball, I didn't start my 6th grade year. I couldn't hardly even shoot my 7th grade year. Failure. Was MVP my 8th grade year though. And then you've got professional wrestling. Yeah, professional wrestling. I'm a lock in professional wrestling, man. I got the look. I know it. I'm smart. I'm athletic. I can talk. I just got to figure out this wrestling thing, the psychology thing, go out there and do it. Failed. Failed professional wrestler, man. Unbelievable. What a bust. I would say I'm a 1st round draft pick bust in professional wrestling. Now I'm 31. I'm not saying I couldn't turn it around. But man, I'm like a Tim Tebow level bust right there. Like, some people thought I probably wasn't going to make it, but then I had a lot of people thinking I was, so they gave me a chance. But then the haters were just way too loud for the ones that thought I was going to be good. And unfortunately, I'm not going to kiss anybody's ass to get them to get me. So failed. And then logistics, man. I've been doing logistics for almost before logistics. How about this? For car sales. I did car sales for like 2 months at Mountain View Ford. It's a part of my life that I try to forget because, man, what a POS I was about that. Just quit. First time in my life that I just quit. So, failure. I sell some cars though. Love those guys over there. Go see Kenny Cone and go see my boy Jason Rose over there at Mountain View Ford. Anyways, so complete nutrition. Started doing complete nutrition. I was bad at that too. I mean, I was there just for the supplements, man, just to get through my WWE tryout. 3-day tryout. I only got to do 2 days because I didn't get medically cleared for the first day because of my neck. Failed. Didn't get chosen. Failed. Professional wrestling, back to it. Failed. Logistics. Jumped into logistics. Thanks for jumping into pro wrestling. June 2014. Lipsy Logistics. Didn't even know what it was. I failed my way to success in logistics. But ultimately failed. Failed as being really, great at anything until I kind of found my spot. And then, you've got in life, just different things in life. School, I wasn't I had like a 3, 6 or something high school GPA, pretty decent. I'll say it's pass. Cheated a lot off of the people in high school. I was really good at that. My eyes, man, really good. And then, group projects, didn't do anything. I was that guy. Didn't do anything. Got that A though. I'd host the parties. And then, college, man, first semester, killed it. 3.5, balled out first semester. Then I realized, this is stupid. That's stupid. So, I had a, low 2s GPA, barely graduated college, pretty much a failure there. Could have done a lot better there. First, 5 job interviews, didn't get them, failed at those job interviews. Access America, failed. Enterprise, failed. Several pharmaceutical companies as a medical sales rep or a pharmaceutical sales rep, failed. And then, anyways, so I pretty much failed away here. I've failed to do things I said I was going to do. I've failed to get up sometimes to stay consistently working out. And I've been working out since I was 13 with weights. But I've been working out since I was 5 years old, push-ups and stuff. I still don't walk around all the time jacked. I still don't walk around all the time with a six pack. I still go on binges with food because I'm a failure. Because I fail every single day, man. Every single day we fail. So all you people out there that are afraid to fail, don't want to do something because you don't want to fail, man, you got to drop that mentality. Quit being scared of failure. You're going to fail. Like, life is a failure. Everything that you do in life, you're probably going to fail. I guarantee you that if you add up all the things you failed at and add up all the things that you consider a success, failures are going to outweigh successes like 99 to 1. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you just kill it. Maybe you do. But for me, my life to this point, 31 years old, is a failure. But I want to save the successes. I want to save the relationship success, the family success, the financial success, the accomplishments, the awards. I want to save all that stuff for a later day because nobody cares about that. People want to hear about failure. People want to hear about losing, the comeback. So I'd like to consider this a public announcement. And this is the comeback of a bunch of things. I don't really know what one thing would be, but the comeback of a bunch of things. So the comeback of a really in shape, lean, ripped, athletic, muscular, functional, explosive body. The comeback of better grooming. The comeback of better nutrition. The comeback of better hydration. The comeback of more preparation into what I do. The comeback of higher quality podcasts. The comeback of doing what I say I'm going to do. The comeback of getting organized. The comeback of coaching to my best ability with Marcus. The comeback of loving my family and Tia as much as I possibly can and being there for them all the time. The comeback of all that. The comeback of giving my all at work, come back giving my all at podcasting, come back giving my all in the gym. Everywhere I go, being where my feet are and giving my best. That's the comeback. That happens today, and I just want to let you guys know that. So thank you again for stopping by the Chat with Gunner podcast channel. Wherever you're watching it, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, things that hadn't been created yet because we're everywhere. I want to continue to build this up. I'm going to go through analytics later at a different time. And I appreciate you guys. I really do. We use Grant Cardone training at work, and I go through phases where I study people for a certain amount of time. Grant Cardone, great model to study. Mindset, goal setting, really, grabbing things that you didn't think you could grab. Tony Robbins, state of mind, that type of stuff. The Rock, just look at The Rock, man. Body, work ethic, grind, grit, blue collar mentality. Gary Vee, I've been doing a lot of stuff with Gary. Almost done, buddy. We got like 2 minutes. I've been doing a lot of stuff with. Come on, you want to get on the video real quick? Been doing a lot of stuff with Gary Vee here recently. Mark this up, man. Getting his wrestling in. Doing a lot of stuff with Gary Vee here recently. Empathetic leader, compassionate, leading by example, leading by operating, but also just content king, man. And then a buddy of mine, Nico. Nico, you can check him out here on LinkedIn. Nico did my podcast. I believe it was episode 105 or 106. Please, guys, I'm telling you, go watch this episode. It's incredible. Best podcast I've ever done. And it's because of him, because he was the guest. Tells his whole life story with the travel. He's from, his parents are from Ukraine. He was born in the north. He comes to the south, plays football, all this stuff, gets content creation, starts traveling the world, and now has a huge following, like 2 million followers, if not more than that now, across TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all the different things, mainly TikTok and YouTube. And he just really pushed me, man. He said, hey, you're consistent. You got the content. You can do this. But you got to believe in you, and you got to quit talking about how. Think about this. Last thing I'm going to leave you with. Very last thing. Let me talk about my boy right here. So my boy Viking Boxer, bro, come hop on the commentary team sometime for one of our shows. Go Mox. I got you. You tell me the show. You get me booked. I'm there. I'd love to do commentary. And Graham Gonzalez, Gunner leveling up this year. Excited to see where you end the year, bro. Me too, Graham. I appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you, Graham. Keep busting it, my man. Anyways, last thing I'm gonna leave you with right here, and I believe when I did that, I'll just slipped my mind. So maybe one of these days I'll remember. You know what? Oh, here we go. Maybe this is it. So when you introduce somebody to your group of friends, how do you introduce them? You probably introduce them by bragging on them, trying to get your friends to like this person that you're bringing into the group. He's got this, he's got that, he's done this, he's done that. He's all these things, right? Because you want your friends to, you want them to take the bait. And then hopefully that guy or that person or that girl, whoever it is, that family member, that whatever, is able to live up to what you just said, right? That's the hopes. That's how people become really good friends. I want you to take this moment and I want you to do that to yourself when you're talking about yourself. It's going to come off narcissistic. It's going to come off cocky, come off egotistical, come off selfish. This is what I want you to do. When you introduce yourself as everything that you want to be and everything that you've done. Let them know exactly who you are. That's all you got to do. So Marcus, you want to say bye? Peace. All right, so we'll check you guys out next time.